Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Charlie. On today's episode, I'm going to be showing y'all how to make my delicious homemade lasagna pasta from scratch. Now, this dish consists of the lasagna sheets. We broke those into small pieces. It also has ground beef, Italian sausage, 3 different types of cheeses, seasonings, herbs, and spices. It basically combines the lasagna dish with a creamy dairy-based pasta dish to create a delicious and flavorful comfort food dish that you're gonna love. This recipe calls for about 4 to 6 servings. It's a flavorful comfort dish, absolutely delicious. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, here's all what y'all gonna need to make y'all lasagna pasta. Let's get started with our ingredients. You're gonna need some lasagna sheets. You'll also need some ground beef chuck and some Italian sausage. Now you could use all of the same one or you could use both of them like what I'm going to do. And along with that, you're going to need some tomato paste. It could be salted or unsalted. You'll also need some whole milk and some heavy whipping cream. Whichever one you prefer, you could use all of the same one or both of them. And you'll also need some salted butter. You can also use unsalted as well. And for our cheeses, here I have some shredded mozzarella cheese, shredded Parmesan cheese, and I have a little bit of Romano cheese left that I used a couple of weeks ago. So I'm going to go ahead and might shred a little bit of that in there. And for our seasonings, you're going to need some salt, black pepper, Tony Chachere's Creole seasoning. You can also use Zataran's Creole seasoning or the Slappy Mama Cajun seasoning. And you'll also need some Chef Paul Prudhomme's Poetry and Magic. Of course, y'all don't already know by now that I use this in just about everything I cook, so you're going to need that. You're also going to need some onion powder and some garlic powder. And for our additional seasonings, you're going to need 1 small yellow onion and some garlic. And for our herbs and spices, you're going to need some dried parsley, some dried basil, and some dried oregano. And there we have it. All right, y'all, let's get straight to it. So I have a half a yellow onion here, and I'm gonna just go ahead and chop this up. All right, here I have 2 cloves of garlic. I cut them in half, of course. And now I'm gonna just chop the garlic up until it is minced. Make sure you chop it up real good. All right, here I have my lasagna pasta sheets. So just about a half a pound will do. 8.3 ounces in weight will do. All right, here I have my lasagna sheet, and I'm just going to break this up as carefully as possible. Just break it up into little small squares like this. That's it. That's all you got to do. Preheat your fire to medium heat. All right, now let's get started with boiling our pasta. So in this large pot, I have 2 quarts of simmering water. I'm going to add a little bit of seasoning. I'm going to add about 2 teaspoons of salt. Now, of course, y'all already know this ain't 2 teaspoons, of course, because when I cook, I don't measure. I'm a seasoned veteran. So I'm going to go ahead and just take my spoon and just give this a quick stir. Make sure that salt is nice and incorporated into the water. All right. All right, next I'm going to add the lasagna pasta sheets. And just add that on in there, just like that. Now I'm going to go ahead and give this a quick stir. Now you're going to let this simmer for about 10 to 12 minutes, stirring occasionally. All right, y'all, it's been about 10 to 12 minutes now. I let my pasta cook for about a total of 12 minutes. But just to be on the safe side, I just always like to taste my pasta to see if it's at the texture that I want. And that's good enough for me. Now you're going to go ahead and turn your fire off. All right, y'all, now I'm going to go ahead and add my pasta into this mesh strainer. Ooh, that is hot, 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 hot. Ooh. All right, now y'all just gonna let this cool off until it's warm. Don't rinse it off or anything. But if you want to rinse it off, you can. That's up to you or whatever. Preheat your fire to medium heat. All right, let's get started with cooking our ground beef and our Italian sausage. So in this large saucepan, I have 8 ounces. That's about a half a pound of ground beef chuck right on in there. And to that, I have 8 ounces. That's a half a pound of the Italian sausage. And I removed it out the casing and everything. So I'm going to just go ahead and add that in there. And I'm going to take my spoon and I'm just going to give this a quick stir. And you're going to let this saute for about 8 to 10 minutes, stirring occasionally. Now while this is sauteing or whatever, you want to take your little spatula and just cut down some of those larger pieces of the ground beef and the Italian sausage. Alright y'all, it's been about 8 to 10 minutes now. I let this cook for a total of 8 minutes and it is done. Now you're going to go ahead and turn your fire off. Alright y'all, here I have a mesh strainer and I got a pan underneath it to catch the dripping. I'm going to just take my ground beef and my Italian sausage and I'm just going to add it into the strainer. And the pan juices underneath there, we're going to use that to saute our seasonings. So let's get started with that. Preheat your fire to medium heat. Alright y'all, we're back in the same saucepan that I sauteed my ground beef and my Italian sausage in. Now remember the pan juices that we have from the ground beef and Italian sausage? I'm going to add about 1 tablespoon of that in there. And to that I'm going to add about a tablespoon of salted butter. And I'm going to just spread that around my saucepan like so. And I'm going to let that butter melt. Alright, next I'm going to add 1 1/4 cups of chopped yellow onion. That's about 6 ounces in weight total, just in case if you were wondering. Now I'm going to go ahead and give this a quick stir. Now I'm going to let this saute for about 5 to 6 minutes, stirring occasionally. Alright, it's been about 6 minutes now and that onion is nice and caramelized. So let's go ahead and add the rest of our ingredients. So I have about 1 tablespoon of chopped garlic right on in there. And to that, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. And to that, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of water. If you have a little chicken stock, you can add that in there too. And next, I'm going to add my ground beef and Italian sausage mixture right on in there. Now I'm going to go ahead and give this a quick stir. Smelling good, smelling good. Oh my goodness. Y'all, this is going to be the bomb.com. Alright, that looks good. Now for my favorite part, let's add some seasoning. Alright, so first we're going to add a half a teaspoon of salt, 1/8 of a teaspoon of black pepper, a half a teaspoon of Tony Chachere's Creole seasoning, a half a teaspoon of Chef Paul Prudhomme's Portrait Magic. I love this. I love my Portrait Magic seasonings, boy. Ooh. A half a teaspoon of onion powder, a half a teaspoon of garlic powder. And on this plate here, I have 1 teaspoon of dried oregano, a teaspoon of dried basil, and a half a teaspoon of dried parsley. And I'm going to just add that in there. And this last ingredient is optional. To cut the acid of the tomato paste that we added in there, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of sugar. Now remember, that's optional. If you don't add it in there, you don't have to. Now I'm going to go ahead and give this a quick stir. Now I'm going to let this saute for about 2 to 3 minutes, stirring occasionally. Alright, it's been about 2 to 3 minutes now. Next I'm going to add 1 1/2 cups of whole milk. Now I'm going to go ahead and give that a quick stir. And to that I'm going to add 1 cup of heavy whipping cream. And I'm going to go ahead and give that a quick stir. And next I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of the shredded Parmesan cheese, about 1 ounce in weight. And to that I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of the shredded Romano cheese. Now I'm going to go ahead and give this a quick stir. And you're going to let this simmer for about 3 to 4 minutes, stirring occasionally. You want to be careful not to cook it for too long, because if you let it cook too long, the cream mixture is going to turn into oil and you don't want that. Alright, it's been about 3 to 4 minutes now, and as you can see, the mixture has thickened. That's exactly what we want. Now you're going to go ahead and turn your fire off. Alright, next we're going to add our lasagna pasta pieces right on in there. Now I'm going to go ahead and give this a quick stir. And our lasagna pasta is done. Now to serve this, make sure you have it plated up and everything, and that is hot. You're going to lightly sprinkle some parsley and some shredded Parmesan cheese. And remember that shredded mozzarella cheese. You're just going to take some of that and sprinkle that on top. And from there, you could take it, place it into your air fryer on 400 for about 1 to 2 minutes, and you'll be good to go. And after that, it is ready to be served. Here is the final presentation. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, lasagna pasta made by a New Orleans native. If you like my channel, hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell button if you want to be notified of my videos. I have an official website for all of my recipes, including for this delicious homemade lasagna pasta. You can go to www.charliethecookandrews.com. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter under the name Charlie the Cook Andrews. Stay tuned as Charlie's Taste Test is coming up next. Can't wait. Now it's time to go ahead and take a bite. Oh my goodness. Oh man, it's nice and creamy. And the depth of flavor to this dish is absolutely amazing. I mean, the flavors of the ground beef and the Italian sausage and the seasonings that we've added, and then those cheeses brings out, oh my goodness. Y'all, this is absolutely delicious. It combines the lasagna with a creamy Alfredo sauce to create a wonderful, delicious, and flavorful comfort dish. I'm telling y'all, try the recipe. It's on point. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, have a good one. Peace.